the empathy stage, what we'll do, we'll establish a voice of customer, voice of employees, and also voice of management. We want to understand the problem from 360 degrees, everybody's perspective. And then we go into a deep dive into the root cause analysis, why this is happening.
Hello and welcome to the CX Files, where we talk to the top experts from the field of CX about their experiences, about good practices, their tips for us in field related to CX. We have recently done a lot of podcasts about certain aspects of CX. We've spoken about getting data from the customer. We've spoken about customer success, escalations. One of the feedbacks that I've been getting is, all this is great, but how do I get started? How do I go and set up a program on CX? And I thought that was fair. So let's talk about that. So to talk to us about that, I have with us today Santhakumaran Atmalingam, who I'm going to call Shanta only because I have only 30 minutes today, with his permission, of course. But just to do a quick introduction, Shanta is a award-winning CX specialist, and he's a founder of CX Expert Asia. And he's had the opportunity to actually set up CX programs ground up for mid-sized and large-sized organizations. So welcome, Shanta.
Thank you, Sumit.
All right. So why don't we start with your introduction? Can you just give us like a couple of minutes to introduce who you are, what do you do, what's your experience been like with CX?
Okay. Thank you very much, Sumit. So My name is Santhakumaran. I'm from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm the founder of CX Expert Asia. Been in the industry for more than 2 decades. My actual industrial experience about 25 years after my graduation. Been doing a lot of, my background is marketing, sales, customer service, operation, process improvement, technology, interface, and so on. So all this domain helped me to become a competent CX consultant and recognized globally. And CX, if somebody asks me what's your blood group, I will tell CX. So that's
a good one.
Okay.
All right. So Santa, what I intend to do today is to talk to you about certain things about how do you get started with CX. Okay, so we'll start talking about do we need a CX program? If you are a mid-sized or a large-sized company, do you really need a CX program? If you do, how do we get started about it? Who are the stakeholders that one needs to involve? What are the tools and technologies that one might use? What are some of the challenges that one might run into? And then, importantly, once you've set up this program, how do you keep it running? So a lot to cover, half an hour, so we'll go as fast as we can, but we'll basically do a good job of each one of them. So let's get diving. Imagine a scenario. I'm a mid-sized company. I'm doing fairly well, profitable. Customers love me, or at least that's what I think. Why do I need a CX program now?
And where to start?
Sorry? Where to start?
It's a challenging question because customer experience covers the entire organization. So you ask me, it starts from top down. So somehow my experience with my clients, they will set up a department, customer experience department. They'll pull resource from customer service, or I've even seen from people from finance heading CX department. There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. But ideally, CX should come from the marketing department. From the marketing department, because only customer experience should start from that marketing 101, marketing plan,
right?
Product development, and then move towards customer experience. So ideally, if these guys taking up the job of setting up the customer experience, they will know the end-to-end spectrum journey of the customers. They can design it straight. So ideally, what we do? Sorry.
No, carry on. So all right. Let me reframe the question here. So, at what point in your experience do companies start to feel that I need to have a standardized program to measure customer experience?
Yes. Normally, they would have the CEO would have attended some conference, then come across this term, customer experience. That's the in thing, that's the future, and call somebody, some management team in the office, and shall we do customer experience? Go and find out what is it all about. So they will call me, Mr. Santha, what is customer experience all about? So I will need like 30 slides to explain what is customer experience all about. So we start from to create the awareness, the mindset that it is a change management program, because currently before embarking in customer experience journey, any company will be very process and compliance centric. We work at bare minimum to meet the compliance, so we don't get any penalty, ISO, audit, everything's okay, let's do business. And it's very profit driven. So in customer experience, we have to change that mindset to customer centricity, where put your customer in the center of the design and have to work backwards toward your processes, system and everything. So that's the starting point. The awareness is the starting point.
I see. And where does it start? So you said mostly it's CEOs who've gone to a conference or spoken to somebody and this is the future. So it starts up there. Who is the person who calls you? Is it the CEO who calls you, or is it the CEO who speaks to a CMO and then CMO calls you?
Something like that. Either the CMO or sometimes the customer service head will call us. Can we know more about what is customer experience? So I will bring your entire management team for the 1 hour talk. I'll throw it for free. So the whole organization, about 20-30 managers will come. Then that is where I get the buy-in and also explain to them that this is a collective effort for the entire company. It's not somebody's responsibility. One department with 3-4 people cannot drive customer experience. Everybody.
Absolutely. It's a culture. It's not a program to begin with. But tell me, what's the bare minimum? Who needs to be there in that first meeting to discuss this? What's the bare minimum that you ask for?
Bare minimum, give me the person who's taking the responsibility. Let me drive this through. I want to see that person, and I want to make sure that he or she has enough energy to drive this through, because sometimes can be very tiring. Very tiring. So the next step, I will demand to meet the CEO, arrange 1 hour presentation to the CEO, because the top level buy-in is so important for customer experience transformation. At a point, we will need some capital injection, change the system, and also we need to break the interdepartment silo where only the CEO can oversee the entire operation. So we need his support. Otherwise, I will tell them upfront, if you can't even get 1 hour presentation for me from your CEO, this thing's not going to work. Let's have coffee and nice to meet you.
No, I think that's a great filter. So what I hear you saying is that you need the top level involvement.
Buy-in.
Absolutely. You need somebody to come and handhold this. It cannot be an orphan. There is somebody who's driving it internally. So these are the two bare minimum set of people that you need for that first meeting. But as you said, this is
first meeting that officer who's driving customer experience. Second meeting, I want to meet the CEO first. So because I will ask these few questions from the CEO to the CEO. Question number 1: are you prepared to switch from process-oriented organization, profit-oriented organization to a customer-centric organization? It's change management. So we're going to change a lot of things in your organization. Number 1. Number 2, we can't expect a group of unhappy employees to create a great experience for your customers. Are you prepared to listen to your employees? That is the question number 2. If he's prepared, let's continue. Otherwise, nice meeting you as well. So it's not going to work.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So we have the basic stakeholders in place. There are a couple of things that you touched upon. One, you said the data currently exists, but it exists in silos because departments are not talking to each other. And 2, you spoke about how CX is a culture. And I think both of them are essentially saying the same thing. It's a organizational driven change. You've got 2 people on your side now. How do you take this and make this an organizational thought process?
So the next what we do, I will push for a 3 days workshop, to create awareness workshop, to create the awareness. Bring all your middle management, head of departments, team leads. It's about 20-25 people for the workshop. We want to align everybody behind now and break the silo, interdepartment silo, because now how people will work is, any company ask the head of the department, are you old staff? They'll tell no, I'm short of staff. So they have enough time to walk into the office every day, clear the daily task, do some firefighting, damage control, and work for 10 hours and go back. There's nothing else they can do. So we have to take them out of the office, go to some hotel, clear their mind, clear their mindset. Now we are one team, and that's our customer. How are we going to future-proof our business? So we are ready to welcome our customers in the future, number one. Number two, how to become future ready, and how to stay relevant in the future. You cannot do the business same way how you've been doing the last 10 years. For the next 5 years, everything changed tremendously. So that will be like a wake-up call. So, and we always focus on solving yesterday's problem. Today, what we're going to do is, yes, we're going to find ways to solve yesterday's problem, and we're going to design the future journey for your customers. Are you interested? Everybody will be, okay, let's do this. So I'll get the buy-in for everyone.
So we have now buy-in from the right stakeholders. What next? So how do you go about building that basic foundational blocks for a good CX program? What would those blocks look like?
Okay. So the biggest challenge for any organization is, from my experience, my consulting experience, the last 25 years, they won't know where are their underlying issues. So I will use this analogy. You cannot see your own children being naughty, but somebody else's kids you can see like, wow, that's like a monkey, you know. So we cannot see our own problem because we are so immune. We are part of the problem. So we ask them, give them a piece of paper, write down all the problems you have in your company. They write anything and everything except their name. I will tell why your name is not here. You're part of the company. You are the problem in your company. Put your name in. Let's work together. Now, we are the problem, and you need someone like me from outside to come and tell you where are the underlying issues. So we do a deep dive. So we start with customer research, journey map, interviewing the customer. So I'll train them in the methodology for the first 3 days.
I see.
That's basic.
Right. So you basically go in and you help them do customer research, figure out what the ideal journey map is. And I'm assuming at some point you are figuring out what are each of the touch points, what are the problems that customers are complaining about at each of these touch points. So once you have that in place, what do you do? Do you then go identifying SOPs for each of them, using some tools? What's the next step from there?
No, we use design thinking model where first we empathize the customers. At this stage, the empathy stage, what we'll do, we'll establish a voice of customer, voice of employees, and also voice of management. We want to understand the problem from 360 degrees, everybody's perspective. And then we go into a deep dive into the root cause analysis, why this is happening. We want to dig out what's causing this pain for our customer. And normally you can see the correlation between the customer's pain point in the customer journey and internal issues from the voice of employees will have a direct correlation. Wherever you have internal problem, it will reflect as a pain point in the customer's journey map. So then they'll be like, okay, now what's next? So I will make it very clear. Look, we are not here to find whose fault. Because it can be my department or your department, but we are together in this, and together we're going to look for the solution. So don't worry about whose fault or whose department and all that. So let's work together. So that will give them the room for a breather and feels okay. Let's work together on this. We need something.
All right. So you've identified the problem, and it's interesting that you spoke about employee experience and how that links to customer experience, because it's a topic that we have touched in detail in our last 2 podcasts, and I think increasingly I'm hearing employee experience being a factor into customer experience. So thank you for bringing it out. I think you are absolutely right. If you have an underlying problem in the organization, it would manifest itself when you interact with the external world, and customers are being a part of that external world. All right. So we have identified the root causes of problem. We have probably identified what needs to be done. How do you now standardize or institutionalize it?
We go into solutioning where we do ideation. During the ideation, there's a mechanics to gather we'll get hundreds of ideas from everybody in the team. So the whole idea of this ideation is, yes, I can solve their problem. It's offhand, you've seen companies after companies. Before even they open the mouth, you can tell what's their problem, you can solve them. But it won't work because why? That's the consultant's idea, not my idea. And together they will try to prove to the management. I told you already, the consultants are doing their own work. So what I'll do, I will encourage them. I will make them to go do some deep thinking, how to future-proof your business and everything. So I want the idea to come from them. When it's their own idea, their own project team, their company, their customer, wholeheartedly they will do it. Like, let's make it happen. So I take a step back. I just become the facilitator, managing the whole thing. I just make sure that they are aligned, intact, direct with what is customer experience requirement and everything.
Yeah, I think you've touched upon this couple of times. I think in my head, it's about ownership, right? Who owns this team? And unless you transfer, you can be the best expert in the world, come out with the best plan. Unless the users own it, people who have to implement this day in and day out, own this, it's not going to work, right? So I think you're absolutely right. So ownership of this is incredibly important. So now, great. So people understand what they need to do. What next? How do you now take this plan and go to the stakeholders? Now we've basically activated the CEO and we have got everybody excited about CX. You've finished your workshops. You've come out with the solution. What next? What do you take back and say, okay, now this needs to be implemented?
Okay, so even this is still in the 3 days workshop. I'll make sure the CEO sits in my class.
Okay, nice. For 3 days?
Clear your calendar, sit in my class. You need to know what's happening.
Yeah.
You need to know what's happening. So normally they'll clear the calendar because because you just need to do this for 1 week with me. Spend time 1 week with me. Yeah. I'll show you the blueprint for next 5 years. So you have to trust me and just clear your calendar and follow me. They will come, and they'll be very supportive. And during the ideation, then we do prototyping. We just use some Lego, paper, cardboards, and everything, and they'll come up with the prototypes. And what we'll do a pitching session with this, because since the CEO is in the class, they come a lot of ideas. They design everything. They pitch straight, and then the CEO sometimes he'll approve yes, no, improve further. He'll give direct input, and the top management, the C-suite will be there. And then from there, what we'll do, we convert the prototypes into projects, and then we validate the ideas. So validation, make sure it increases your wallet share, reduces costs, future-proof your business. There's so many avenues. We validate the idea, then we choose a few, and then we categorize into like 18 months. So they'll get solid 18 months project to run. After that, things will start to fall in place. So that's
very interesting. You say that in a similar workshop, we had actually divided the whole setup into multiple teams and asked them to pitch their ideas to the CEO. Right, so that got people really, really excited. And I remember I went to them a year later, and they were still talking about, that team with X and Y. Their idea actually got implemented, but also these guys Y and Z also spoke about this. We actually implemented that as well. So what I liked about the fact was that they didn't see it as my ideas. It is still their friends' ideas, their colleagues' ideas, and for me that's a win, right? It's like you've now completely internally taken the ownership of these ideas. So I think that's a great way of actually getting people to buy into CX. Okay, fantastic. So people have pitched, you validated the idea. Okay, this is the plan. Now what? So do you go and help them implement as well, or do you now leave a document with them? Okay.
During the 3 days is the awareness, and I will show them what we are capable of doing. This is based on internal information, based on our data points, that the issues that known to us, and we have not spoken to any customers. Then we go back to step 1, where assign them, go into smaller groups, assign them. Now call your customers, find out what are their pain points. So that will be like 6 months. 6 months project after that. So first 1 month they call customer, they meet, they run focus group. So I'll be there coaching them how to do the whole thing. And then we start to go into the actual design and everything. So now they have actual valid data from the customers, from the voice of employees they establish and everything. And now we're going to do the real work. So they know, now they understand the method. So they'll be doing the methodology first during the workshop for 3 days, and then another 6 months with me. After that, they don't need me anymore because they know how to become a customer-centric organization.
Right.
So this is the method.
So the workshop, the 3-day workshop would essentially come out with what they think are the problems, what they have realized based on their interaction with the customers is the problem, then create a solution based on that, take it to the customer, validate it from the customer, see if it's aligning with their expectation. And once that's done, you have now a validated CX plan to go and implement.
Right. Just to make sure that we are aligned with the actual issues out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they call customer, we can see some new emerging issues. So we run other research like ethnographic research, mystery shoppers, just to make sure that that's all we are working on. Then once it's saturated, then okay, let's go into solutioning. Then the cycle continues. And then after that, we will start with small pilot projects just to test ideas somewhere. It's iterative. Then the next week coaching, Santa, we tried, then this didn't really work. Okay, why didn't work? Then we do root cause analysis again. The cycle continues. The project, agile project implementation and so on.
Interesting. So once you got to this place, now you have at least a skeleton level of program. And I think the reason why I say that is because I feel a lot of CX programs are evolutionary. You put things in place and then you keep improving, and also because the customer truth changes, right? Every 3 months, 4 months, the market truth changes, the customer truth changes, and therefore you can't have a static program. It keeps evolving. So once you have that bare minimum, who goes and implements it now? You go in and help them actually implement it. And number two, how do you know that it's working? Right? Do you have any metrics that you are tracking? How do you make sure that this is working?
Yes. So I have 25 managers with me. Who else I need? So I've got
absolutely. No, fair enough. You don't need anybody else, but you need to make sure that 25. So part of the challenge is also that 25, right? You have 17 working for you and 8 not working. Kind of breaks that whole CX implementation, right? So how do you, so at the end of the day, the CEO would want to see, okay, this has helped me and this is working and this is going to continue working. How do you help them take a bird's eye view of that implementation so that they don't have to now manage those 25 people day in and day out? Correct.
Then we'll form a CX council where made from the first batch, 25 managers, it's CEO and everybody will form a council. And they will run meetings once a month.
Okay.
So, because my understanding, people don't discuss customers' issues in board meeting.
Yeah.
It's always about profit or cost cutting.
I think you make a valid point. I actually was speaking to Mary Poppin. I did a podcast with her recently, and I think it should be there on my channel. And she spoke about how, and very passionately about how there needs to be a specialized customer experience, either department, you call it council, but some team which is focused, whose day job is to manage customer experience. Because in actual organizations, data or interactions sit at the marketing level or sales level or HR level. How do you bring it all together? And it's ideally a founder's or CEO's job, but we're talking about large organizations. Right, to do this day in and day out, probably, and you're right, he has a board meeting to prepare for where they're going to talk about profits, not customer experience. And so he certainly doesn't, or she doesn't have time. So who does this? So somebody with authority, somebody with the ability to work cross-functionally needs to do this. So I'm with you when you say that there needs to be a council, and I think that's a great idea. My question is, is there a single metric or a set of metrics they can track to make sure this is working?
Yes. Normally we start with NPS, Net Promoter Score. The base metrics for customer experience measurement.
Yeah.
From there, once I introduce one first. Let's get familiarized with something because you've never measured anything all this while. Let's start somewhere.
Yes,
basic tools, and then once they are getting used to that. Metrics, measurement, monthly measurement and everything, and then introduce CSAT, CS, then we'll get some good CX system in for them to work with. Then they will start to, it's like change over a period of 6 months. don't want to give them a cultural shock. So now you're going to do things totally differently, because if you work somewhere for 20 years, basically you can work by closing your eyes. You know what to do every day. Now we're introducing something new. So I always introduce with baby steps, let them get familiarized with the new way of working. Problem, metrics measurement, because sometimes the metrics measurement can backfire their own department. The CSAT is lower for their department. So to balance the whole day, sometimes it's like challenging.
No, sometimes the problem with metric is that you don't improve customer experience, you improve the customer experience metric. Right?
Yes.
That itself is very distracting, right? Fantastic. So now the next challenge, you have something up and running, right? Managing the system. So you've trained 25 people. These 25 people at some point are going to leave the organization. New set of people would start to come in. How do you make sure that this thing sustains beyond these 25 people who were trained by you?
Okay, so normally the first batch is the 25, the key people, movers and shakers of the organization. Then the training will go on for the second layers, assistant managers, executives. Easily about 20-30% of overall population of the company we will train in, but we won't train in the full methodology, half of that until journey map or design. And then we have to also brush up their soft skills, how to be courteous, empathizing your customers, listening skills, the basic soft skills for a good customer service experience. So by end of 6 months, the entire organization will start to talk from customer's point of view. They'll have that customer first mindset. So I know you just know that they're ready.
Right.
You just know that. Right? But after that, then they will appoint me as an advisor. So I go like monthly meeting, just join their meetings. Mr. Santha, have anything to add? So far it's okay. No, it's fine. And also encourage them to have customers chair in all the meetings.
Okay, fantastic.
Just
so let me summarize this process. And if I miss something, please feel free to add. Once you know that you have to set up a CX program, the first thing you need to do is to get the top level buy-in. You said if you cannot get 1 hour from your CEO, then you're not going to get 6 months from him or support from him going forward. You need at least one person who's going to own this piece, because otherwise it becomes an orphan, nobody is driving it. All right. So once you've done that, you bring the entire middle management, multiple departments, all of them in a single room, and talk to them about customer centricity, trying to set up the culture of customer empathy. How do you listen to the customer, see what their problems are? In that workshop, you try and figure out the customer experience, the employee experience, the management voice, see where there is lack of sync. And wherever you've identified lack of sync, you figure out what the root cause of that is, and try and figure out a program that would help solve that in a way that the team feels like they own it. It's coming from them, and therefore they need to implement it. You then go and validate this with customers, seeing whether it actually works. Identify if there are other elements of customer experience which needs to be fixed. Then come out with a composite program. Have a customer council which sits next to the CEO, so that they can bring the entire all touch points together, made from customer, from sales, from marketing, from HR, everybody pitching in, and then you build a culture of customer centricity, so that even if people leave, the next set of people coming in eventually imbibe the same culture, because this now is an organization's culture, not an individual's culture. What do you think?
Absolutely. I can certify you after this talk.
Fantastic. Thank you, Santha. This was very, very helpful. What we will do now, we're not done. We have one little segment that we call the rapid fire. It's related to CX. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'm going to expect rapid answers. Okay, so that's the only KPI that we are working on. Good quality answers, yes, but rapid answers. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. One word to describe perfect CX.
Your customer's happy.
Sorry?
Customer happiness.
Customer happiness. Fantastic. Okay. Most important CX metric.
NPS.
A brand that you admire most for customer experience.
We have KWSP in Malaysia.
Okay.
Employee Provident Fund in Malaysia.
All right. Government organization?
Government organization.
Oh, then I mean,
Okay.
kudos to them. Fantastic. The biggest myth about customer experience.
Biggest myth about customer experience is people don't change, but people change.
You're talking about customers?
Yes.
Yeah,
Employees.
That's all true. Yeah, absolutely.
People do change.
I mean, for one, the employees themselves change with the kind of turnaround that we see these days. What's the future of customer experience in one word?
Omnichannel.
Omnichannel. Good one. Okay. We should talk. One tool or technology do you think is a game changer for CX?
Also omnichannel.
Also, okay, fantastic.
Centralized
No, absolutely. I am with you. Omnichannel, you talk omnichannel. I'm your man. I'm with you on that. One book or resource that you'd recommend to anybody who's in CX field?
Outside in?
Outside in? Okay.
Outside.
All right. I need to look that up. The best piece of CX advice that you've ever got?
Treat your customers like a king.
Perfect. And if there was one thing you would change about the CX industry, what would that be?
CX starts with marketing.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Santha. This was very informative. I think for a lot of our audience, the question of actually how do you go about setting up CX from scratch is a very important one. I think I've seen companies struggle with it. I've seen companies set it up wrong, set it up in a way that people don't own it. And then those programs stagnating and not going anywhere. I think some of the points that you spoke about, especially about the cultural change, about ownership, about customer centricity, are critical for setting up CX. CX is not a tool, it's a culture. And I think, as you rightly said, one needs the top level involvement and the entire organization's involvement in doing that. So once again, thank you very much. It was fantastic talking to you. And I think the insights that you shared with our audiences were very, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sumit. You take care.
Take care too.